Hey Bulldog fans, welcome to this week's edition of the Bryant Football Coaches Show. Tristan Hobbs, head coach Chris Merritt. The Bulldogs coming off a 24-20 loss at Robert Morris last week. They are back home this Saturday when they welcome NEC rival Sacred Heart to Burns Stadium. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock on Family and Friends Weekend. Hope to see you out there this Saturday. But coaches, we start our show taking a look back at Saturday. Another game where at the end of it, 4 or 5 plays make a difference, and unfortunately on Saturday they were the wrong way.
Well, 4 or 5 is pretty optimistic. I'd say it came down to one play, and we could have made it at any time, and just, no excuses. We can talk about injuries, we can talk about everything else, but at the end of the day, we have 11 on the field, we got 12 coaches, we got to coach them up better and find a way to finish the games.
Coach, your team jumped out to a 13-0 lead at the half. What did you see from your team in that first half? It was a very dominant first half for your team.
Well, I think the game started off very well offensively for us. I know we put together a 90-yard drive to start off the game and executed well. Got ourselves behind the 8 ball on a couple offensive drives that probably could have put more points up on the board, but we scored on 3 drives, and defense did an excellent job. Special teams played very well. Put us in a position where they kept them in a long field. Defense didn't give up the big play. Held them in check in the running game, which is what we knew we had to do to win the ball game. And things went our way in the first half.
Corey Curtis, the last 2 weeks, your team's had a 15-play drive for a score. This past week, a 12-play drive for a score. Obviously, there's 11 guys in the field. He kind of headmans those drives. What have you seen from him in the last couple of weeks that have kind of helped your team extend drives and have success on those drives?
Well, in each one of those cases, the drives have relied on him converting third downs to play pitch and catch with receivers, basically. We had a solid game plan, I felt, going into it to get our guys open. And he delivered, especially with our RPO package off the backside of our formations. And he threw very catchable footballs and did exactly the way we planned for it to go. And, other than the gaffe that we had in the second half here, he's done a pretty good job to secure that football and not turn the football over for the last couple weeks.
Your running back position has been a banged up one all year. Last week at Central Connecticut, Harrison Easton got his first chance at playing running back. This past weekend, he was there again and was awesome. 18 carries, 61 yards, a touchdown for the second straight week. How has he been able to shift from quarterback to running back so successfully?
Listen, Harry's a football player. It doesn't matter if he's playing quarterback, could be playing free safety or tailback. It doesn't matter. Harry's a football player. We got a little concern there. Third play into the game, Daniel goes down again. So we thought, oh goodness. So, but Harry stepped in there. He looks forward to the role. You can I have a different look to his face now each game, and he wants the football, and he's done an excellent job. The coaches are really impressed with his ability to run the football with authority. He knows when to drop the pad level and gets the ball in there. That touchdown run that he had going into the ball game, going into the end zone, was as good as we've seen all year from our unit.
Defensively for your team on Saturday, Robert Brown had probably another one of the best games of his career, 14 tackles, 2 for a loss, forced a fumble. He's been the leader of your team since, I would say, probably January. What did you see from him on Saturday, and kind of how was his leadership developed over the course of the year?
Robert, I've known Robert for years. I remember he came from Miami, so I've known Robert for a long time. And when I came in here, he's exactly as advertised. He is one of the defensive leaders in our football team, and I think he and Jesse both played very well. And listen, this is his final 3 games of his career. You can tell there's a different pep to his step. There's a different sense of urgency to him. And he wants to finish his career at Bryant the right way.
Jesse Nemerowitz becomes Bryant's all-time leading tackler as well on Saturday, surpassing Thomas Costigan. Jesse now with 289. He's on the verge of becoming the first Bulldog with 300 career tackles. You've only got him for 1 season, Coach, but what a career. Anytime you get up in the echelon of 300 career tackles, it's special.
When you start looking at the history of the Bryant football program and the names he's up there with, obviously Coach Watson, Costigan overtook last year for the title, and then now for Jesse to overtake Tom is says a lot. It says a lot about the history of this program. You start looking at the greatest who ever played in it, And Jesse's been very steady all year. He along with Robert made some big tackles Saturday, and it's just a shame the game ended the way it did. I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize him in front of his teammates. We'll probably get that done today. But I think knowing Jesse, he probably would have given it up for 5 more points.
Talking about some of the greatest to ever play here on Friday night before the Bulldogs take on Sacred Heart Saturday. Bryant Athletics 2019 Hall of Fame class will be formally inducted. 2 Bryant football players, Jordan Harris, Jordan Brown, getting inducted on Friday. Jordan Harris, the all-time leading receiver in NEC history. Jordan Harris, all-purpose yardage leader in NEC history. 2 guys that were foundations of this program. An exciting Friday for this program.
Yeah, it's great to. The football program is not that old. People keep forgetting. The program's been around for 20 years, and to have 2 guys lead the NEC that's been around longer than the history of the program, I think that says big. Now, I wish they had a couple years of eligibility left right now, that's for sure. But that speaks volumes for those guys and for Bryant football.
The Bulldogs then on Saturday will take on Sacred Heart, a game that has kind of been it's built into a nice little rivalry between Bryant and Sacred Heart over the last couple of years. Always fun when these 2 teams get together. How much have you learned about this little bit of this rivalry game, and how excited are you to get going on the field on Saturday?
Well, that's one of the first, besides Brown, that's one of the first colleges that were mentioned to me when I took the job back in December is guys that we have to beat, guys that are rivalry games. And that's what makes this part of college football season so fun. All the rivalry games coming up here the next few weeks, and this is just another one. And puts a different meaning to the ball game. Records don't mean a lot in these types of games, but we have our hands full. They're a good football team, and we expect a battle.
They're good on offense. They run the ball well. Leading rusher in the league. They have a quarterback that can throw it around. Weirdly enough, though, they've been giving up a lot of points in yardage defensively. Usually, a really good defensive team. What have you seen both offense and defensively from them?
Well, they provide a matchup problem for us on defense. They've got some pretty good skill, where we're probably not as strong in some areas, but we've got our hands full. There's no question about it. Again, I think the best defense we have is if we continue to put together 12, 13, 14 play drives and keep the defense on the sidelines. That has to be what we do offensively to give ourselves a chance Saturday.
For your team, what's the message this week from you?
Just simply put, keep going. Listen, there's no question because of our record, because we've led 6 football games in the second half and have won 2. The morale right now, the most important thing is just keep moving forward, stay the course. Things will start to play out for you. You swing the axe enough times, the tree's eventually going to fall. That's all we can do right now.
Head coach Chris Merritt, the Bulldogs, and he's set to take on Sacred Heart this Saturday at Burns Stadium. My family and friends weekend kickoff is set for 1 o'clock. You can watch on NEC Front Row, or you can get your tickets on BryantBulldogs.com/tickets. Follow the Bulldogs on social media at BryantUFootball.